Good morning. Mark 10, 28 to 31, the title, Reward for Following Jesus. Peter said to Jesus, "We have left everything to follow you." "I tell you the truth," Jesus replied. "No one who has left home or brothers or sisters or mother or father or children or fields for me and the gospel will fail to receive 100 times as much in this present age, homes, brothers, sisters, mothers, children, and fields, and with them persecutions, and in the age to come eternal life. But many who are first will be last, and the last first." The Maharaja lived in his palace in the foothills where it was cooler, but he determined he would visit the nearby city, sent notification, the date he would come without entourage. The mayor replied, arranged a rendezvous, place and time, and purposed to take his distinguished visitor down the main street. The street cleaners were given orders and double shifts. The beggars were cleared away with harsh penalties should they encroach upon the highway on that particular day. And so the two of them were walking slowly down the street, and the mayor was pointing out some of the landmarks and telling him of the history of the town. And they came to an alleyway leading off, narrow, dark. The prince said, "I liked it." "No, sir, please, the town hall, it's our most prestigious." But the Raja had already started down the alleyway. 15 meters down, he saw his first beggar, sitting on the pavement, hunched, head bowed, leaning against a brick wall. He got a little bit closer, just skin on bones. He saw there was a bowl in the beggar's lap. Closer still, he saw someone kindly had put some rice, maybe a cupful, in that bowl, enough to keep breath in the body another day. The beggar didn't raise his head when he heard footsteps, just let out his whining entreaty. But when those footsteps stopped in front of him, a flicker of interest and hope, and slowly he raised his head, expensive shoes, fine clothing, and he looked up and saw a kindly face looking down to him. But before he could say anything, the stranger asked him something. "My friend, will you please give me some of your rice?" Bemusement, confusion on the face of the beggar, but again, softly but insistently, "My friend, will you please give me some of your rice?" This time it was anger that flared. How was this man to mock him in his misery? But the third time, equally insistent, "My friend, will you please give me some of your rice?" And something moved the beggar, and he reached into the bowl, and with his fingers he drew out a handful of rice and poured it into the outstretched palm of the man stooping over him. And then he sunk his head low in even deeper misery. And a moment or two later he heard the footsteps ebbing away. It was some 2 hours later, no further gifts. The sun was beginning to dip to the west. He needed to get up. He found that harder every day, to go to the bridge under which he would sleep. But before he did, he looked in his begging bowl. There was something, shining, glinting. He reached. It was red. He picked it out, only the size of a grain. He knew it was valuable. Never heard the word ruby, but he knew there was food in this little stone for weeks and months. He did what you and I would have done. Fingers back in the bowl, search, and there was another one. He lifted that up and placed it carefully alongside the first one, and then feverishly searching, sifting with his fingers, but nothing else was to be found. And then he remembered, and then he sighed, and then he spoke. "If only I had given him everything I'd got. If only I'd given him everything I've got." That rich young man who went away from Jesus so sadly, one day he'd issue the same heart cry, "If only." Because what we hang on to, what we hold on to, ultimately we lose. The only way to keep something is to give it away, or to hold it in open palms so it can be taken from us. And what we give of ourselves and our possessions will be returned to us 100-fold in this life and in the next. It will be the time of the great reversal. And we ourselves today are going to be determining our harvest in that day. It's going to be perhaps a harvest of remorse and regret, but hopefully a harvest of reward and great rejoicing, and we will discover that God is no person's debtor. God bless you, and remember the story of the Indian beggar. Thank you.